Have you ever stopped to think about how the laptop you're using right now connects to, well, everything else? We're going to pull back the curtain on that today. We're talking about computing environments, the hidden worlds that power your email, your bank, pretty much everything. I mean, think about it. Your laptop, right? That's your own personal little universe. But then you have something like your bank's computer system. That's a fortress built for millions of people. And Netflix? That's basically a global TV station. They all use computers, yeah, but the way they're set up, completely different worlds. So let's break down how each of them works. All right, so first things first, to really get a handle on all these different setups, we need to be on the same page. We've got to start with the big core idea. What is a computer's world? What do we even mean by environment? Okay, here's a good way to think about it. Imagine a big stage play. It's not just the actors, right? A computing environment is the whole production. You've got the physical stage, the lights, the props. That's your hardware. Then you've got the actors and the script they're following. That's the software. And the way they all move and interact on stage, well, that's the network. It's all of those pieces working together to get something done. And really, that's the key takeaway here. Every single system we're going to talk about today, from the phone in your pocket to the massive cloud, is built from just these three basic ingredients: hardware, software, and a network. The real magic, the secret sauce, is in how you combine them. So, where do we start this journey? Right here, with the one we all know best, the personal computer. It's its own little self contained world, right? Just you and the machine. All the power, all the apps, everything is right there in that box. This is our starting point, our ground zero. But, having just one computer for one person, it's kind of limiting. Pretty quickly, the big question became, hey, how can we share all this power? How do we get a bunch of people to use one really powerful computer? And that question, it gave us the classic setups that basically built the next era of computing. And that brings us to this idea of time sharing. The whole point was to be super efficient, get dozens, maybe even hundreds of people all using the same big central computer at the exact same time. But wait a second. How do you do that without creating a total traffic jam? And how do you make every single person feel like they've got the whole thing to themselves? Well, the secret is just raw speed. The main computer is so fast that it slices up its time into these teeny tiny little milliseconds. It gives you a little slice, then the next person, then the next, and it cycles through everyone so incredibly fast that you don't even notice. To you, it feels totally instant. It's this really clever illusion that makes one shared computer feel like it's all yours. Okay, so we went from many people sharing one machine to a new model, a conversation between two machines. And this one is a huge deal. This is the client-server model, and it's basically the engine that runs the internet you use every day. Your web browser? That's the client. It sends out a request, and some big, powerful computer out there, the server, hears that request, finds what you need, and sends it right back. It's this simple back and forth, this request and response that makes the whole web go round. So up to now, it's been all about many people using one computer. But now, let's completely flip that idea on its head. What if instead you get many computers to all work together on one single giant problem? Now we're talking. This is where we really start to see the power of teamwork. And that's the core idea of what we call distributed computing. Instead of trying to build one single ridiculously expensive supercomputer, you just take a whole bunch of normal computers and link them together over a network. Then you take a massive problem, say rendering a scene for a Pixar movie, you chop it up into thousands of little bits, and you give one bit to each computer. They all work on it at the same time, and boom, you get the power of a supercomputer, but only when you need it. Now, this idea comes in two main flavors. First, you've got grid computing. Think of this like a massive team of volunteers from all over the world. Computers in different cities, even different countries, all donate their spare power to work on huge scientific problems. Then you have cluster computing. This is more like a highly trained SWAT team. All the computers are in the same room, super tightly connected, and built for speed and reliability. This is exactly what a bank needs to make sure your transactions go through flawlessly, every single time. Okay, so think about all these ideas we've talked about. Sharing one big computer, the whole client server back and forth, getting computers to work as a team. They were all just the building blocks. They were all leading up to the one environment that totally dominates our world today: the cloud. The big game-changing idea with the cloud is treating computing like a service. So instead of you or your company having to buy and maintain a room full of expensive servers, you just rent what you need. You rent processing power, you rent storage space, you rent software, all from these giant data centers run by companies like Amazon or Google. And why is this so revolutionary? Well, it's pretty simple. Need a ton of computing power for just a couple of hours? You got it. And you only pay for exactly what you use. Plus, you never have to worry about a server breaking down. The cloud basically turns computing into a utility, just like electricity. You just flip a switch and it's there. And hey, this is not some abstract thing that only big companies use. The cloud is super personal. Every time you use Google Drive, or watch a show on Netflix, or even just use most apps on your phone, you're plugging directly into the cloud. It's become this invisible backbone for almost everything we do online. All right, we've covered a ton of ground here, right? We've gone from a single PC all the way to this global network. So let's do a quick recap to make sure it all sticks. When you lay it all out like this, you can really see the story, can't you? It starts with one user, no network. Then we add more users. Then we add a network. Then we make the network more and more powerful. Each step on this ladder unlocked something new, taking us from a simple laptop on a desk to the massive services we all rely on today. Let's break it down one last time. Super simple. Personal, one user, one computer. Time sharing, many users, one computer. Client server, that's the request and response conversation. After that, it's all about teamwork. Distributed, grid, and cluster are just different ways to team up computers. And all of that leads to the final boss, the cloud,